Good Monday, traders. I hope you had a great weekend, had a rest, but let's continue with the analysis of the Forex market. This time it will be the Canadian versus the Swiss franc currency pair. Before we get started, would like to remind you that all the information in this video is for educational purpose only, should not be considered as a financial advice. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so, because we're having these video analysis every single day. So subscribe and smash the notification bell. Let's get started with the Canadian Swiss franc price action. The first thing I did like about the potential downside move, which I do expect from this pair, is the rejection of the moving average. You can see there is a simple 50-period moving average where price attempted to break. There was this attempt, then price produced a spike, yet another attempt, there was another spike, but still this resistance did hold. Another thing is that price went down, broke both moving averages, then corrected up, and we see the rejection of the 50 Fibonacci retracement level at 0.6986. This resistance corresponds to the previously formed support. So support, now resistance. And it seems like as long as this resistance holding, we might be seeing a fast downside move. This can also get accelerated by today's break below moving averages yet again and break below the uptrend trend line. So this could have been this entry point for big move on the Canadian Swiss franc. Another thing, I have used Fibonacci cycles applied to the previous low and high. And what we have is a cycle down. Next cycle yet again seems to be down, and then we will have cycle number 8 on the 28th of November. This potentially will be next Monday, so another 5 trading days to go. So this means that in just 5 trading days price could drop by 165 pips. This is a very big move for such a pair as the Canadian Swiss franc. I think this will be the Canadian dollar weakness across the board. We will be looking at other Canadian pairs that we had, for example, Canadian Japanese yen and dollar Canadian dollar. But this seems like the Canadian dollar will be struggling, especially this week. And we can see there was a range trading going on since 13th. So about 10 days of range trading, which should now result in a downside move, but of course only as long as this resistance holds. In regards to the targets, I have applied fibs to the corrective move up after breakout of the moving averages and where the previous level of support has become the resistance. We can see there was also a Fibonacci cycle and price went down, yet another Fibonacci cycle and price starting to move down. Currently there are 3 support levels to watch in my view. These are 127.2 fips, 227.2 fips, and the final target is 327.2 fips at 0.6784. The most important is the final one, because if we go to the weekly time frame, here I have used simple fibs to apply to this correction to the upside after this collapse which has occurred this February. What we have is 78.6 fips, almost exactly corresponding to 327.2 fips. Back to the 4-hour chart. Another important thing is that we have this downtrend trend line, which is average price downtrend trend line, where I connected these 2 highs, and we see previously it acted as the support. So what could be happening is that this very same trend line will act as the support once again, and it corresponds to our Fibonacci support levels and crosses at the 28th of November. This is the time of the next cycle, and this is the time when we have all this crossing with the cycle, Fibonacci and the trend line, which could make it a very fast move to the downside. Right, so it's time to watch for the price action. Tomorrow we will update you, of course, but now let's move to the other Canadian dollar pairs that we had. Canadian Japanese yen, still downside move expected, continuation. A support is at 78.91. We're yet to hit that support. So overall, we initially published the analysis when the price was at this high. So now we might be seeing next support to be tested. So maybe price will do something like that towards this previously formed support at 77.91. So these are the 2 levels of support to watch, 78.90 and 77.91. Also a downtrend continuation is expected. The dollar Canadian on the daily time frame struggling to break below the support formed here on the daily time frame, which is 1.3070. If we move to the 4-hour time frame, this was this correction, perhaps A, B, and C. So now we had this first wave. Now this is the second wave, and the third wave, which is the biggest one, is on its way. So this is what I expect. This wave could be looking something like that. And as long as we hold these support levels that I have put on the chart previously, we should be moving up. And this is happening also on the 28th of November, very same as we had on the Canadian Swiss franc. So these Canadian pairs could be moving against the Canadian dollar throughout entire week with a very good trend. So these were all the Canadian pairs that we had, and currently I do like the most how all of them look against the Canadian dollar. Probably the strongest mover will be the dollar Canadian to the upside, but we will see. They all should be moving against the Canadian dollar. Let's move on to the other analysis we had. The euro versus dollar. We're still holding the key resistance. I do still expect the move to the downside. This is a daily time frame, so long period, and price still consolidating. Let's see what happens to the 1.1919 resistance, but so far is bearish. Pound versus dollar, we had this break to the upside, although if there will be a daily close below 1.3310, it will still remain valid. So there is a chance that the price will go down sharp by the end of today, and then we could see still a very strong downside move. Australian versus dollar consolidating, so still valid, expecting the corrective move to the downside, although this is a long-term perspective which I think should be bullish. So this is a daily time frame, and yet again going to the 4-hour time frame, we had this spike yet again, and price failed to close above this resistance area. So still valid, still expecting the downside correction. The Australian Japanese yen. So here we had the new cycle started. I think it will now go down towards this support 74.77. Yet again, a fast move to the downside on the Australian Japanese yen is expected. We published these analysis once the price was at this area, price area. Australian Swiss franc still rejecting the trend line, still expecting the move to the downside to hit the support at 0.6557. Silver starting to look yet again bearish. It failed to break above this resistance, so lower lows and lower highs are in place as long as this resistance holds, and I would expect continuation of the downside move. So maybe even the range trading, this area is now could be either up or down, but when we see some sort of breakout either upside or downside, this should increase the selling or buying pressure, but for now looks more like a selling pressure will be increased very soon. The pound Swiss franc, yet again same as the pound dollar on the daily time frame. If there will be daily close below, it will be still valid, but we just broke to the upside, so we will keep on watching this and see what will be with the daily close. Probably will do the same with the pound versus dollar. If by tomorrow we will see the daily close above, then both of these will get invalidated. But so far, just let's see what will be today's daily closing price. The US oil, here is this resistance. What we had is price failed to close above this spike. Now, yet again, we need to see the daily close if it will be above this high produced on Friday. And if there will be, this will get invalidated. So yet another daily close to watch. I'm gonna move it along with the US oil. But considering that the Canadian dollar is correlated to the US oil, while the Canadian dollar is expected to go down, the US oil could do the same. Well, it's actually, I think the Canadian dollar follows US oil. So we had this early indication of the US oil weakness, potential weakness, and we need to see the daily closing price. I'm 60% certain that the daily close will be below 42.51, but time will tell, and tomorrow we will see. The euro versus pound, this definitely is invalidated because price went down, and we will not be following that anymore. So closing that. Today's analysis for the Canadian Swiss franc. We do expect the fast and sharp move to the downside of around 160 pips, and which might take place this week. So this could be 1 week move, 460 pips on the Canadian Swiss franc. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please do support our channel by clicking that like button and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell to follow all the videos that we do every single day. Video analysis, live trade examples, and educational videos. Thank you for watching, and till next time.